If you haven't had an opportunity to watch Californication's Faith, Hope, and Love, stop listening now. Major spoilers, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, man, we are back on track for a great season. And we're only probably maybe 2 or 3 episodes before the series finale, the season finale for It's All Over, before the last chapter inside of the book of Hank Moody and Karen is closed forever, and all the fans of Californication, go on with the rest of our lives, hoping, wishing, and praying that something happens to where Californication is made into a movie, a spinoff, something, to where we can get these characters back. Chances of that happening are slim to none, so just enjoy what you're seeing here. Last week's episode, I put the podcast for that one up tonight because I was just way too down to put it up. I had no words. And because of the events that happened last week, that was, Karen being in an accident. And then this week with a Faith, Hope, and Love episode, we would find out, what happened to Karen if she survived. And the good news, the great news, is that she made it. And everything kind of went back to normal, man. And not in a sense as far as normal as far as Hank Moody, but normal as in seeing Hank and Karen attempt to try at their relationship again. I guess you can say that's the best way to sum it up. I'm not really going to talk about the entire episode. I'll just talk about some things that really, piqued my interest and elevated this episode to the best episode of the series. And then after that, we'll end it talking about the hopes for next week's episode. All right, so inside the hospital, you see Charlie, you see Marcy, and you see Hank Moody. They're sitting down, and they're getting news about Karen, the situation that's going on with Karen. A drunk driver hit Karen, sideswiped her, and put her into the hospital. And while you're waiting in this hospital to kind of find out what happened to Karen, if she's going to survive, the details, Hank Moody goes on this soul-searching type journey right inside the hospital, man. Everybody knows that there is a church, there is some sort of religious place, sanctuary, whatever you want to call it, inside of a hospital, and that's where Hank Moody ventures off to. And as he's venturing off, he runs into a vending machine to where he beats on it, trying to, get something out of it. He obviously put money into it. It wouldn't give him back, so he kind of got frustrated a little bit. And just frustrated all together with the situation that's going on. And they had a flashback sequence where they kind of showed you that a similar situation happened with Hank and Karen. They got, long story short, they got into an argument. They didn't agree on something. They were about to split up, and Hank Moody is taking, Karen back home. Hank Moody gets pissed off because Karen is, nagging inside of his ear. He runs a red light, almost gets hit, almost kills Karen, and then he has this this situation where he goes and he talks to a shrink before this situation with the car accident, but that's what kind of led them to being pretty much pissed off at each other. They went to the shrink. The shrink sided with Karen pretty much and said that Hank Moody was not a good guy or whatever. They got into the car. Hank was still angry. Karen was still nagging. He ran to the stoplight. And then they almost died. They kissed and made up. And while he was inside of the shrink's office, he said, "I'm going to punch a wall." Well, the same situation, I guess those same emotions were happening to him inside the hospital. So, the closest thing to a wall was the vending machine. So he started punching on the vending machine. A guy walks up and is like, "Hey, man, listen, I'll give you $1. Here you go. You don't have to punch a thing. It's just a vending machine." And then he says, I'm in a similar situation, waiting for, some answers. And then after that, Hank Moody thanks the guy. Later on, that guy's significant other, man, dies. Hank Moody is inside of the chapel. He actually heads to the chapel, He heads to a church. So you have the situation between Hank Moody and God, and everybody knows, if you watch Californication, Hank Moody and God, they I don't know if you want to say they don't disagree, they disagree. I just don't think that it's a factor. Hank Moody doesn't believe in a higher being, and if he believes in higher being, he believes that the higher being is a she. Well, you get that you get that moment again, saying with the nun, with the sister, okay? She comes out and she asks Hank Moody what's going on. And the first thing I was thinking, I was like, okay, Hank Moody's going to go the distance with this nun, and he hasn't learned anything, or he's going to take this as an opportunity to show us as the viewers a little bit of growth, and that's what he does. The nun is actually, trying to tempt him, it seems like, but he doesn't bite. Instead, once he's not biting on anything that she's throwing at him, she gives him the advice at the end, and that says, it just seems like you're a husband that is caring and thinking about his wife. So why don't you just sit down, close your eyes, and get the answers that you want? And that was just awesome. Hank leaves the church, goes back out, sits out there with Marcy and Charlie. Doctor walks up, says that Karen is okay, lets you know about some of her injuries, and said that she's going to be in the hospital a couple more days, and everything should work out well, man. But it's kind of cool, man, because some of the flashback sequence, since we didn't see, the return of Hank's daughter, we got to see a younger version of her inside of the flashback sequence, and she kind of gave her father once again a little bit of advice. And I don't know why. I don't know why she didn't return. Maybe she just didn't want to, or maybe we'll see her before the finale, or I don't know. Maybe. But that was kind of strange. I just wanted to point that out a little bit. Once the doctor gives Hank the okay, he's able to go visit with the injured, recovering Karen. Walks in there, gives her a kiss on the head. She opens her eyes, and I'll be honest with you, that was the best moment of the entire episode, man. It was just seeing her open her eyes, her big, gorgeous eyes open up. They're just so big. I can't even begin to describe it to you. It's, how her eyes were just huge, man. And she opens them up, and she says, this doesn't change anything. I'm still pissed at you. And then after that, he says, that's the only way that I would want it. And he gives her a kiss. They put their heads next to each other, kind of like resting on each other, and like a sigh of relief. And after that, the episode goes black, and that's the end. And then we wait for next week's episode. And next week's episode seems like it's going to be a reunion a little bit because, and I don't want to spoil this, but there are some characters, one in particular that's coming back. I'll give you a little hint. Maybe you've watched Parks and Recreation. I'll give you a little hint about that. If you can find that guy that's in Parks and Recreation that's also on this show, then you're in the right way, okay? That'll kind of lead you towards it. I just don't want to ruin it because it's very, very funny. It's a funny guy. And, yeah. I'm not going to say anything else because I'll spoil it. It looks really, really funny. Charlie and Marcy are going to finally address that $1 million question, whether they're going to accept the offer or not. And Karen and Hank look like looks like they might do something good, man. They might do something good as far as getting back together. Maybe they get married or something. I don't know, man. But it looks good. That's it, guys. Let me know what you thought. And I know it's been frustrating, man. As you can see on my channel, I haven't had a lot of podcasts for Californication I'd say last 3 weeks. Maybe even the last month. I think I stopped on episode 2 or 3, maybe called Levon. I think that was the last one that I talked about. Or maybe the one about Levon's mom. And that was it. I just got so frustrated with the show. And I don't know, man. It is frustrating. I will say that. I will admit that. I'm not going to sit there and lie about that. It is very frustrating as a fan of Californication, how they're treating the show when it's the season finale, when it's the series finale, I should say, when it's the end. There isn't another opportunity to wow you. And here's the thing, man. If your final season is great, we've seen this happen with opportunities in seasons and series like, Community. We've seen it with let's look at Supernatural. Let's look at like Grey's Anatomy. What else? Trying to think of one that's kind of like Twin Peaks, man. Twin Peaks. What's another one? One more. Let me get one more. Veronica Mars. There you go. Some of those that if you give your audience a reason to continue watching, or if you give your audience an opportunity to bring new people in, and then those people become fans in your final season, that means if you give us, or if you give anyone, just the audience in general, fans or new people, the opportunity to see something special in your show, the I guess you can say the brighter your future is later on, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 6 months, whatever down the road, 2 years, whatever. Down the road, you have an opportunity to come back, man. And it just seems like the writers just were like, whatever, man, Showtime's giving up on us. We're giving up on them. And they just gave up, man. You know, and I'm hoping, man, and I know this has nothing to do with really Showtime, but I'm hoping that, you know, with True Blood, that they don't take this route. Every single episode from the first episode of the final season till this series finale, you have to bring your A game. That's the only way that you'll have a future, man. And I think that's what's most frustrating because it just doesn't seem like Californication. First episode, it did seem like it. Second episode, you started going downhill. Third episode, you came up a little bit. After that, it went straight downhill. And it was just like, wow, are you just want to kill this series or what? You're killing what was special about Californication. So hopefully they will, you know, bring it back, man, later on. And step their game up, man. You know, and that has nothing to do with the actors. The actors are doing a great job with the crap script that they're given. And hopefully the writers, man, will get back to the passion that they have for the show, man. Anyway, that's my rant. That's my review. I definitely enjoyed it, man. I'm glad to see that Karen's alive. If they would have killed Karen off, I would have been absolutely pissed off. I'll be real with you. There would have been a riot in the streets of, well, I'm in Mississippi, but I guess I would have had to drive all the way to California and then riot, I guess. But yeah, you get the picture. Right there.